Hello and welcome to VPL Group 6 video assessment on teamwork. We came about our teamwork strategy surprisingly quickly. Many of our group members have shared similar preferences, so the discussion was relatively easy and amicable. Due to our lack of diversity, we realized that we're going to have to work especially hard in the preferences that fall under R1 and R2. And some of our group members will have to be key players in areas or preferences that aren't necessarily their main preference.
According to my brain profile, I've shown a strong affinity for L1 and L2. This means that I approach my task in a very methodical manner, and I tend to break it down into steps and then take on each step individually to complete the task. I would say in overall I've got a strong affinity for critical thinking, so I tend to like to take a organizational approach to group tasks and tend to allocate the task to the people I best fit that specific task. My brain profile showed that I have a low preference for R1s and R2s. This I do believe is correct, but I do enjoy speaking in front of people and in crowds and to new people. So something that I'd like to work on in the future is in a group setting is I sometimes come across as quite domineering because I tend to allocate tasks to people and I value the task as a whole rather than the people in the group, and this is something that I would like to work on.
According to my brain profile, I have a high or a very high preference for L1 and L2, meaning I will excel and enjoy working in a structured and a relatively unchanging environment, where the outcomes and processes are clear and understood, as well as enough time being allocated for planning and ensuring success. Like Bronwen, I have a strong ability for critical and logical thinking as well as analysis, making me comfortable in problem solving and coordinating tasks based on the preferences of the rest of the group. I have a low preference for R1 and R2, meaning I don't like an always changing environment as well as working with others. This is something I have to overcome, as whilst planning for this community engagement, there will be many changes and I need to be able to work with my group and work well with them to ensure the success of this engagement. I tend not to be emotionally sensitive towards others, and again, this is something I have to overcome, as there are many things that others go through that we are unaware of, and that needs to be taken into consideration for the duration of this community engagement.
Seeing as I have the highest preference for R2, I am more socially orientated and work well in a caring environment. I see my role focusing on communication and networking in the group. I can coordinate ideas and strategies and help the group discussions flow with ease and purpose. I can help with conflict or misunderstandings and will make sure everyone is happy with the conclusions. My preferences for R2 are quite accurate, but I am shy when it comes to new people and circumstances. I am hoping to develop more in this area. My R1 preference will also make me more of a helper and will be used to help in any way I can and support others with their parts. I'm not always good at creativity and getting stuff done, but I'm good at assisting. My L1 and L2 preferences are very low, and knowing myself, it means that I'm not usually effective in focusing on what needs to be done. I also tend to leave tasks for the last minute and am not really effective at planning, organizing and structural work. I will have to look to my teammates to help me in these areas and to make sure we have effective planning and completion.
I'm a predominantly L1 individual, meaning that I enjoy objectivity and critical thought. I also interact effectively with others by sharing fact and practical application of plans. I also have a high preference for R2, which isn't my highest quadrant, but I am willing to work within this quadrant. I have a high preference for diplomacy, and I am able to listen and assist wherever possible in order to aid our teamwork. I would work alongside Bianca, who has the highest preference for R2 within our team. I do not perform well in situations without clear-cut guidelines, but I am open to constructive criticism from others. I also prefer to consider many possible outcomes for any scenario in case any problems may arise.
I have a very high preference for L2 and a high preference for L1. My very high preference for L2 means that I'm detail-oriented and disciplined. I will work to ensure that our group doesn't go off track once we have defined our goals, and I'll do this with my L2 teammates, Erin and Bronwen. My preferences for R1 and R2 are average and low respectively. Within our group though, I have one of the highest preferences for R1, so I'll have to work within this quadrant even though it's not my highest preference to ensure that our group works successfully. I do tend to get bored easily, so I have a preference for coming up with new ideas, which I think will be helpful to us. I also enjoy the more creative side of things, so I'll be useful if we ever have to work in that area. My very low preference for R2 means that I avoid excess interaction with people, and I much prefer working by myself or in a small group like we have here. I will definitely have to work on my ability to collaborate with others, as I tend to take over when no one else steps forward. Because many of our team members share similar preferences, we are unlikely to encounter major conflicts within the group. Because of our similar preferences, we are going to have to work outside of our comfort zones though. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. It'll be a good idea for all of us to have some new experiences and get out there and try something different.